Hi guys, this is Abi from Gokche Design. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a 3D pop-up effect in Adobe Photoshop. Let's start by clicking on the New Adjustment Layer button, choose Gradient, and from the drop-down, pick a gradient to your liking. Create a brand new layer and rename it to Polygon. From the toolbar, use the Polygonal Lasso tool to create a four-sided lasso selection. Click on Edit in the top menu and choose Fill. From the drop-down, select White and then click OK. Use the Ctrl or Command D shortcut to deselect the current selection. Now bring in the image of your road and use the rectangular Marquee tool to create a selection that you would like to include in your polygon. Use Ctrl or Command C to copy this selection, then create a brand new layer and use Ctrl or Command V to paste the selection. Rename this layer to Road Cutout. Click on Road Cutout's thumbnail while holding the Command key. Now use the Command C shortcut to copy it. Use Command D shortcut to deselect the current selection. Turn off the visibility of this layer and select the polygon layer. Now click on Filter in the top menu and choose Vanishing Point. Create a grid parallel to our existing polygon. Adjust the corners until it turns blue. Use the Command V shortcut to paste the selection we copied in one of the previous steps. Drag it inside the grid and use the Transform tool from the left menu to adjust, scale, and transform as necessary. Click OK when done. Now click on Edit in the top menu and choose Warp from the Transform dropdown. Drag the corners up a bit to your liking. Click on FX and choose Drop Shadow. Play around with the distance, spread, and size sliders and then click OK. Under the polygon layer, right-click on the drop shadow and click on Create Layer. This will separate the drop shadow in its own layer. Click on Edit in the top menu and choose Warp one more time from the Transform dropdown. Bring the shadow up a bit in the center and down a bit in the corners. Right-click on the drop shadow layer and convert to Smart Object so we can apply some filters. Click on Filter in the top menu and choose Iris Blur from the Blur Gallery dropdown. Play around with the control points on the ellipse and the blur slider to blur out the edges of the shadow. Now bring in the image of the cyclist and click on the Quick Selection tool from the toolbar. Hit Select Subject and then click on the Add Layer Mask button. Use the Move tool to adjust, transform, and scale the model as per your liking. Click on FX and choose Drop Shadow. Play with the distance, spread, and size sliders and then click OK. Just like before, right-click on the drop shadow and click on Create Layer. Click on Edit and choose Distort from the Transform dropdown. You should be able to drag, adjust, and scale the drop shadow to your liking. Click on Add Layer Mask button and then select the Gradient tool from the toolbar. Choose Black, White from the Gradient dropdown. Draw a diagonal gradient line from the bottom of the shadow to the top to gradually fade it out. Feel free to play with the opacity slider to adjust the intensity of the shadow. From the New Adjustment Layer menu, choose Curves. Click on the Clip button and then select the Curves thumbnail. Hold the Alt or Option key and click on Auto. Now select Find Dark and Light Colors. Use the Shadows color picker to sample a dark color from the background. Repeat these steps for the highlights and the midtones color picker. This will help match the dark and light colors of the background with the cyclist. If you want to go one step further, double-click on the Gradient Fills thumbnail and click inside the gradient to open the gradient editor. Double-click on the gradient stops one at a time to sample and pick colors from the background. There you have it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Until next time.